Today I'll be bench spraying my Brake Master Cylinder for my 1975 C3 Corvette. I purchased my Brake Master Cylinder off of eBay because of the mirror chrome finish. What really drove me away from buying another O.E.M Brake Master Cylinder were the clips that secure the cap. Those things were never fun to get off. This changeout isn't purely cosmetic. Even after replacing the rear passenger caliper and bleeding all the brakes, they still felt soft. It's weird because I haven't lost any brake fluid either. So I just don't have the confidence that the car will come to a full stop when the pedal is fully pressed. And I'm not saying this as a hypothetical, I'm saying this as a statement. Let's just say it was a scary trip back home after I got my Corvette registered. These plugs came with the Brake Master Cylinder. They're used to put on the ports that I will not be using, which are going to be on this back end over here. These are both different in size, so you gotta make sure you put these in the right port. Five-eighths wrench for the plugs. This is the Master Cylinder Bleeder Kit. It has both the lines to run from the reservoir to the brake line ports. It has the clamps to hold the lines in place in the reservoir. And it has multiple fittings to properly bleed the Master Cylinder. These red ones seem to be standard size. The blue ones might be metric, but the blue ones are not labeled, so that's just a guess. These for sure are labeled, so I do know I'm going to need a 9/16 by 18 and also a 1/2 by 20. These are the two lines. This is the clip to hold it into the reservoir. I'll be filling the reservoir with .3 brake fluid, and I'm going to fill it to about 3/4 full. I'll be using this 1/4" extension as the push rod to compress the Brake Master Cylinder during the bench bleeding. This rear reservoir still has some few small air pockets in it. The one in the front doesn't have no air pockets in it at all. But I believe a few more pumps, this should be all cleared out. We're going to spray some PB Blaster to make sure those brake lines come loose. Don't forget to spray the actual nuts that hold on the master cylinder. While that PB Blaster is working, I'm going to go ahead and buy a 9/16 line wrench to make sure I can take these off without stripping the nuts.
A few hours later.
So I made a quick trip to AutoZone to grab a few things I might need to finish this project. First thing is this 1/2 inch and 9/16 flare nut wrench. This is going to be for the master cylinder. I'm checked both of these and they're both 9/16 nuts. So this is going to work perfect for that. Next thing is a set of universal bleeder screws. I did check the specs for the bleeder screws for the rear calipers, and I believe it's the 3/8 by 24. So I'm going to need those just in case those things give me problems. Because if you've seen in my previous video, those bleeder screws were not good when it came with that reman caliper. And to open and close those bleeder screws, I got another flare nut wrench, 3/8 and 7/16. These ones are going to be for the 3/8 for the bleeder screws. And as a final precaution, I got a Permatex high temp thread sealant, and I'm using this to place on the threads of the bleeder screw to be confident that there's not going to be any air passage going through the threads itself while I'm bleeding the system. Since I already PB blast the nuts on the original Brake Master cylinder, I'm going to go ahead and tape this off just so no contaminants get into the brake reservoir. Nine sixteenths. I'm going to start by removing this brake line right over here. Wish me luck. And pour all this old fluid out. Not sure if you can see it, but there's a lot of debris in there. Yuck. So I just noticed something after I removed my old Brake Master cylinder. This brake booster already has a push rod on here. And my new Brake Master cylinder came with a new push rod, but I don't believe I'm going to need it for it to work on this car. So I'm just going to install it without the push rod that came with the new one, and wish me luck. So I forgot to press record when I did this line right here, but I still gotta do this one. And we're recording this time. When you're putting these in, you want to make sure you're hand threading it first. You want to be absolutely sure that the threads are going straight and you're not going to be stripping anything along the process. With these threaded in most of the way, I'm gonna start using the flare nut wrenches to get it all the way on. I'm gonna go ahead and top this off with some brake fluid, and then tomorrow I can start bleeding all the calipers. Let's see if this new bleeder screw does the trick. I'm gonna go ahead and put this high temp sealant on here. You're gonna want to watch out for that hole. That's where the fluid goes through. I'm just gonna try to get it on these upper threads right here. See that? That's fully closed and it's holding pressure. So I tried bleeding the front brakes, but haven't had any success. I keep on getting a lot of air pockets, and I believe because these brake lines are dry rotted. So what I'm going to do now is replace both of these brake lines and then try bleeding it again. Originally I was going to use this for the bleeder screw right here, but this actually fits for the brake line up here. This did not fit. This was actually 5/16. This one here is a 3/8. So still good thing that I bought this. This is the new brake line or brake hose. I believe both of these are for the passenger and driver. There was no like driver side, passenger side, they're just both the same. So more bad news. There's a hard line or a flex hose, whatever you want to call it, that goes from here to the proportioning valve, and it rusted out right over here. See that? And it also rusted out on the other end. See, this end goes to the proportioning valve. That also rusted out. And you're talking what, 50-ish years old? So am I surprised? Yes and no, but that's more parts I have to go find, and I actually don't have any confidence that any of our local stores will actually have this in stock, but hopefully they can prove me wrong. Well, since everything's out, might as well take out this old brake line for the driver's side. It is very brittle, so my concerns were pretty valid, but again, we can never know what can actually be the resolution to this, since everything basically was falling apart on me. I don't really regret changing out the master cylinder, because I think it was probably going to be part of the problem as well, but like I said, with a number of these things going on, who knows if I just changed these hoses, if I just kept the master cylinder, everything would have been fine. But like I said, after everything else is replaced, hopefully we won't have any issues. More high temp sealant, better safe than sorry. Now off to the store to find a new hard line. So I just finished test fitting the hard line. I actually bought this from AutoZone. It came as a straight tube with the end fittings on there. I had to go buy a tube bender, tube cutter, and all those things to bend this into the shape I want. It's not the greatest looking thing, but I'm hoping it does the job. Also had to buy this thing that makes the flare end on the tube.
The reason why I didn't really show how to do this is because I wasn't really confident in the work I did on this one. So let's just hope that after I put this thread sealant on the lip of this, that it seals and then all the brake fluid can run through without having any kind of air pockets.
This is the second time driving my C3 legally on the streets. I was pretty nervous and I was taking it easy on the roads. I'm intentionally driving it towards the back roads so I can test the brakes by stopping at the physical stop signs. My phone's focus was going wonky while I was recording, and I kept on falling over when I was braking at the stop signs. And as luck would have it, it was a green light kind of day, so I didn't get to stop the car as often as I wanted. I know that's a very weird complaint to have, but for the sake of the test drive, I wanted to hit every red light. If you think I'm driving aimlessly, I'm not. My stomach was speaking to me, so I was driving towards my friend's restaurant to hang out with them and grab some lunch. I forgot to take pictures before I started eating, but here's the visuals of the aftermath. It was delicious. At this point, I really don't know what's next for the C3. Mechanically, it needs new suspension all around, and cosmetically, I need to finish building the rest of the center console. In the meantime, I have picked up a different long-term project, a house project. And if that's something you might be interested in, here's a playlist to watch it from the beginning. If you're really into C3s, here's a video showing all the exterior light locations. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.